How do you pick a hammer bullet for your rifle? Today I hope to show you a process on how I pick a hammer bullet. I've got a 6.8 SPC and a 25 RPR on its way in the next 2 weeks, and I need to purchase bullets for those, or a bullet for each one of those rifles. I'm going to show you that process. The 25 RPR is basically a 25 Creedmoor Acme Improved. So go to Hammer's website and go to their product, and we're going to start with the 6.8 SPC. And then I will talk you through that process, and I'm going to walk you through the process with the 25 Creedmoor Acme Improved. The 6.8 is a 277 cal bullet. Go to there. Now I've gone ahead and sheeted, and I already know which 4 bullets that rifle will stabilize. So the most important thing that you need to know, and I'm just going to show you on the website, it says make sure your barrel twist rate is fast enough for the bullet before ordering. That's been a common mistake. A lot of people from the CC world, the copper core bullet world, think they could just order a heavy bullet and have it stabilize. You can't do that with copper monolithic. So again, the 4 bullets that my rifle has a 1 in 11 twist rate, that's 16 inches, which is standard for 6.8 SPC. It'll stabilize the 85 grain Stonehammer, 90 grain Hammer Hunter, 100 grain Hammer Hunter, and the big chunky 117 Stonehammer. All right, and I'll show you what I mean. This bullet, it will not stabilize. And if you read right here, this requires a 1 in 10 twist rate. My barrel is a 1 in 11. It may shoot this bullet accurately through a piece of paper, but hammer bullets stabilization is not based on flight. It's based on terminal performance, not flight stability. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so what I have done is I've gone ahead and grabbed all the ballistic coefficients for each one of these bullets here, all right? And I go to Hammer Bullets Load Data, right there, and find the 6.8 SPC right here. So what I've done now is for each one of the bullets, I used the ballistic coefficient with the velocity that I used, and then printed it out to see what it is doing out to 200 yards, because my common distance of hunting is 125 yards, and I'll show you that down here. This is the average distance that I hunt, all right? Meaning it's sometimes above that, majority it's below that, but usually it's right in that range. Great, shut up. I'm gonna use the 125 yard range and put the mouse between the feet per second and the foot-pounds of energy at 125 yards, starting with the 85 grain Stonehammer, 2256 and 960. This is the 90 grain Hammer Hunter. Whoa, just because of the BC, that number jumps quite significantly, 2430 and 1180. This is the 100 grain Hammer Hunter. Man, just because of the bullet weight, 10 grains more, it's 2259 and 1130, and when you jump up to the 117, I knew that was going to drop to 2052 FPS with a significant foot-pounds of energy loss there. So the winner, make sure here, yep, is the 90 grain Hammer Hunter. What I think I'm actually going to do is make these into the, I think I'm going to make them into fur hammers for coyote hunting. All right, so now I'm going to show you step by step on how to pick a 25 grain bullet for my 25 RPR that's coming in. So let's go back to gallery, or products here. Go to 25 cal. Where's the 25 cal? And I know my barrel has a crazy 1 in 7 twist rate. And I'm going to take the 4 heaviest bullets that they've got, since I know that my barrel, so the biggest bullet they've got is this 128 Hammer Hunter, but I believe that's actually, yeah, look at that, that's actually 130 grain bullet, and that's a 1 in 7 twist rate. Oh, we go to the load data, because it has all of it right there. I forgot about this. I'm going to take each one of these BCs, put them into my Ballistic AE app. I'm going to take all of these numbers and crunch them, and the average that I've got is 2966 for the 125 to 128, which is actually 130 grain bullet. And for the 120 and 121, I've taken these numbers here and averaged them and came up to 3001, which is the 121 grain bullet. Now my barrel is actually 25 inches because it's a 25 Creedmoor. How could you not do that? And they're using a 24-inch barrel average. And so once I punch in all of these numbers into the Ballistic app, I'm going to put the mouse between the velocity bracket here and the foot-pounds of energy bracket here at the 1,000-yard standard. And we're going to start with the 121 grain Hammer Hunter bullet. We've got 1311 and 461. This is the 125 grain Hammer Hunter bullet at 1468 and 446. I expected the foot-pounds of energy to be slightly better than that. That's interesting. And then jump over to the 127 grain HHT. Whoa. That's really significant. 1416 velocity and 565 foot-pounds of energy. And then jump over to the 130 or the 128 grain Hammer Hunter, which is actually 130 grain bullet. We've got 1320 velocity with 503 foot-pounds of energy. So the obvious winner is the 127 grain HHT. I'm gonna go to my cart here and check these bullets out. One thing I want to show you before I purchase, two things I want to show you is I keep a running chart of all of my real world cartridges, caliber, bullets, and data information. And one of the things that I like to use as a standard is to see where that 6.8 SPC is going to land. I know it's very controversial. Not a lot of people fan or foot-pounds of energy, but according to what I typed into my Ballistic AE app, my 6.8 SPC running the 90 grain bullet is going to fall somewhere between a 6.5 Grendel and a 223 Wild, which has got the Valkyrie that's in there too. And let's go over to 25 RPR foot-pounds of energy over here. It's going to be better than its 243 and into the 6.5 Creedmoor world, which is interesting that the 127 grain HHT out of the 25 RPR is going to be pretty close to the 125 HHT. It'll be really interesting to see what I get in real world velocities. All right, the last thing I've been wanting to do, the 6.8 SPC is going to be my next coyote hunter. So what I'm going to do here is put a note. Where do you put a note in? So in the checkout section, there's an opportunity to put a note, and I'm going to delete all that so you don't see where I live. And in this note, I'm going to say, please
make the 27 cal 90 grain HH into
fur hammer bullets. So hammer does have a dead blow hammer and a fur hammer, which is for predators and smaller critters. And what I'm going to be using the 6.8 SPC on primarily is coyotes. So I'm really interested to see how these fur hammers do, and I will keep you posted. If you guys want access to my chart, email me, and I would be glad to share that information with you. Good information is always good to have in the public domain, and I will tell you how the fur hammers do. And this is how I go about picking a hammer bullet. If you have any questions, comment below.